are here. Okay, so Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2024. Happy New Year, Steve. Did you have a good New Year?
I had a great, well, yes and no. That whole cold that's going across for everybody, the cough has traveled throughout my house, but we still got to all be together, and that was worthwhile.
Well, very good. Yeah, yeah. We made it through, with that same kind of thing, and hopefully, all of you had a wonderful 2024, wonderful holiday season, and now we're back to reality. And reality is where we are right now. So a couple of things, if you're joining us, welcome. My name's Ginger Bell. Steve Richman is my co-host here. Scott Schang is MIA today. So hopefully Scott is
Maybe a little maybe too much of a new year.
Yeah, so I haven't heard back from him. He may hop in a little bit. But for those of you who are joining us on our Facebook group, welcome. You can type in your comments. For those of you who are joining us in our Zoom meeting, you can type in your comments either in the Q&A or the chat. I'm not sure which one works. Sometimes one works, sometimes the other one doesn't work. But hello and Happy New Year. Let me know, type in the chat box, type in the comments. Let me know what part of the country you're calling in from. I always like to know that, Steve, because we are from coast to coast. I'm on the West Coast. I know you're on the central, Eastern coast. And so we're happy to have everyone here today. We did have a big change that happened over the holiday, and we changed our group, which had been mortgage influencers for quite a while. And we changed our group name to the AI Clubhouse. There's our friend Scott. And so we changed into the AI Clubhouse for a couple of different reasons. First of all, we wanted to really focus in 2024 on helping you navigate through this exciting tool world, everything that's happening. And so the best way to do it is just to dive right in and to have a conversation about it weekly. So there's our friend Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello. I still got a little New Year's. I had a bunch of back-to-back calls, and then I saw an email that says the call started next week, and I'm like, no, I'm sure it's this week. I apologize. My AI wasn't working. It didn't tell me what to do.
But Ginger, you said AI and why we're doing this. Here's what it means to me, if I may, because we are starting this new. I was looking the other day and somebody said, come hear my presentation. I love other people's presentations. It's time to get back to the basics. Is it? I mean, when I look at back to the basics, you know what the most basic thing is to continue to grow and explore new avenues. That to me is the most basic thing that we all need to be doing. And that new avenue is AI. So that to me, back to basics, that's why we're talking about AI, because we need to continue to explore what's new and real today.
Well, and it can apply to the back to the basics, which our back to basics we know is pretty simple. It's promoting yourself, right? I mean, it's not
communicating.
Nothing has changed. It's like you have to stand out. You have to be the expert. You have to reach consumers. You have to be able to provide resources to your referral partners. That part of it, as far as the basic, hasn't changed.
What Here's a new methodology.
There's new tools, there's new resources, there's new methodology as far as using that. And so rather than, first of all, not using it. So that's the first thing we don't want to do is we don't want to go, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use this. I'm going to, go back to the basics. The reason we started this is to be able to help you navigate through. And so what we're doing, and Scott got started on the AI before anybody else did last year, and has explored in so many different ways, to the point that, Scott, I know you're consulting with businesses, big organizations. Perry Marshall, for one, for those of you who don't know, Perry Marshall is an expert in really marketing and standing out, mostly outside of the mortgage industry. And so Scott has become quite a force as far as consulting and providing resources. So between what Scott has, I know, Steve, for you, as far as really navigating, your expertise has always been just finding those hidden gems and being able to have the mindset and the mastery to be able to pull all of that together. So bringing that in. And then for me, obviously, I'm a content creator. So we've been using ChatGPT for a long time, in the past year, as long as it's been around, as far as creating a lot of social media, video scripts, things like that. So between us, our goal, guys, is to be able to help you step into this world of AI. And so every week we're going to either be sharing with you a tool. I just dropped a video that should be in the group that I just recorded, and it is on how to use YouTube Transcriber to be able to transcribe your YouTube videos. I have some other things. We have Voice Pen. We have other tools that we'll be sharing. And sometimes they work for you, sometimes they don't work for you. And it's not an endorsement from us. It's just a matter of, hey guys, let's figure this out. Right.
The best tip, number one tip, Scott, I know you relate, so you're gonna get in there. I'm gonna give you a word in a second. But if you haven't used AI yet, and it's the same thing when they first introduced Google and Yahoo and AOL, the answer to do it is to just start doing it. There's no right, there's no wrong. Go to ChatGPT, go to Bard, go to Claude, and it's New Year's, right? So just go there and type in, develop me a plan to lose weight and be in better shape for 2024. Boom. And see what happens and see what it does. And then it's going to ask you a few questions and then say, I'm a 56-year-old male who developed me a plan. And you can see how you can build on it, build on it, build on it. So literally just go in and try something.
Yeah. And we're going to hop in. I do want to share my screen and hop in and go through that. So to your point, Steve, we will hop in there and do that. Okay, Scott, hop in.
Okay. So, but I think I'm going to, where I find myself now, and I think where you're going to keep hearing me interject and how I'm going to participate in the conversation is I'm taking a very sort of philosophical approach to it. And I'm spending most of my time teaching people how to think about it. Because first of all, I think we've got this cool little buzzword AI, and it stands for artificial intelligence. There's nothing artificial about it, and it's not intelligent. It's an algorithm that processes data and it shows you data in different ways. I like to call it augmenting your imagination or amplifying your ideas. If you want to use an acronym, I want to position it as that. I consider it like electricity. It's not the fact that it exists, it's what you plug into it that it powers it that allows you to be able to do what you need to do. So I'm going to always kind of take that approach, that kind of approach to it, and just encourage you, and not encourage, but challenge you to think of it as something different than a chat bot that you type in a question and you come out of it. That is one of the uses for it, but it is so much bigger than that. It is literally a direct hardwire into your neural processor, into your imagination. And if you can imagine it and if you can explain it, then AI can help give you a different perspective on your own ideas and imagination, and then there are no limits. So that's kind of that's where most of my conversations end up being, because the very first question everybody asks is, well, what's the best prompt for this? And I'm like, okay, well, that's a that's a question, but there's so much, there's a deeper question to it than just give me a prompt. If you're just asking somebody for a prompt, you're going to just be on the same level playing field as everybody else that only wants a prompt.
Hey,
Right.
Scott, may
Yes,
I?
sir. Yes, you may.
If we have new people here, because when I started using AI, someone told me about prompts and that confused me. What is a prompt? And just because we're starting this off with AI, can you just tell everybody what a prompt is, what the definition is for that?
Yeah, a prompt is the information that you put into the AI. So it's the question you ask it, it's the process of engaging with the technology. That's what the prompt is. It's your side of the conversation.
Yeah. It's kind of like, so what, when I think of, and I think the easiest way to think of this as far as prompting is AI, and I'll just use ChatGPT as an example. ChatGPT is as if you hired someone to work for you. And so you're going to ask that person, let's say, put together a social media campaign. And I'm going to get into a minute as far as what a prompt looks like. So if you hire someone, how you ask them and how you instruct them in order to what you want is going to give you that return. And so when you think of the AI tools as an extension of your staff, of your team, of who you are and what you're doing, you want to put a prompt. And to your point, it's like, it's not about the prompting, it's about the preparation and a lot of other things that go into it as far as the output. It's the same thing as if you're asking a person, hey, I want you to design a logo for me. I want you to make a picture for me. A picture of what? And what does that include? So the better you are, the better you do get at your prompting and the setting up, then the better results you're going to get. So,
One of the best analogies that I found myself relating to is I've had several websites developed, and usually you're a creative and you're like, I want my website to look like this, but you're talking to a website developer who's a technology person, and you expect them to be able to read your mind and understand they will just do what you tell them to do. And then if it doesn't do what you want it to do, it's usually because you didn't ask them to do it the way that you didn't explain it right. So
right.
that's I'll look at you with all of your custom GPTs. I love.
Yeah. So I'm showing on my screen, guys. And if you haven't been into ChatGPT yet, get signed in. I am signed up for the Plus, so it's $20 a month, completely affordable. They did have a waiting list on the Plus when they probably think around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
I think that that's open again.
I believe it's over. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I know several of you had said I can't get in. It's like they did that honestly because they ran out of bandwidth. So they
Yeah.
they needed to be able to slow down a little bit. But if you are on the plus, what you're seeing right here is under, and if you go under, so we'll start at the chat. I'm just going to go through this. So you have the option of the 3.5, which is the free version. The 4.0 is the paid version. So if you are not on the paid version, you're not going to see this. And what you're seeing over here, as Scott alluded to, is what's called your GPT. So these are customized versions for ChatGPT that you can create and you can set up that will act in a certain way. And again, I like to use this as if I have hired someone. And you can see in here, I have one that's based on VA. We do a lot of podcasting for our clients. So we actually are setting up GPTs for all of our clients. But you can set it up to where it will act as if it is that person. And so I'll give you an example here. And this is VA marketing creative. And so for this one, I'm going to go in here and I can edit my GPT. But one of the things on this is you have this, and I'm not going to go through how to set it up. I have some videos on it. We're going to get in this later, but I want you to think about, because Scott talked about your prompt, is it's not just about that one prompt. It's how you set it up, how you have your voice, your information, everything in there. The better you get at the setup, the better the results you'll get. And again, just like as if you hire someone, the better you get at explaining them, putting them through that orientation, taking that time to do that, the better results you're going to get. So for example, this is for VA marketing. And I have in here, they specialize in marketing for VA home loans. And I get into, and this is the thing too, you guys can put all of this in here on how you want them to communicate. So I have in here, communicate in a friendly, persuasive, informative tone using clear and concise language, be respectful and appreciative of their service. avoiding jargon, complex financial terminology, and specific financial terms like trigger terms or APR. So we can put that in there, refrain from giving financial or legal advice. And then you can actually go in. I have this as a template, but you can always include. And again, this goes to as you're setting goals for the year, I want you to set good goals. I want you to set good practices, good disciplines. And this is part of it. If you're using AI, is setting it up to where it truly becomes a good extension of everything you're doing. So you can set this up in your GPTs to always include your website or your NMLS, all of those information so that when you go and you put in a post in here or a blog.
Can I interrupt just 1 second there,
Yeah,
Ginger?
absolutely.
So if you're just starting this, you're probably going to go to the free version. If
Yes.
you get the free version, you will not have that box that says instructions. You are a da 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 da. But you could still, in Word or whatever, write out those instructions and put it into your free version. So you just have to remind it while you're doing that. That's
Yeah,
all.
you can do that.
Actually, Steve, you don't have to do that anymore.
Oh,
You click on your name, there's a thing called custom instructions. So custom instructions does the same thing, but it's called, I call it preemptive prompting. So
Yeah.
that's going to preempt every prompt that you put into it. That's now available on the free version.
thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't look for the updates on the free version. That's why you're so good, Scott.
Yeah. So, if you are on the free version, and again, I mean, we're in a 30-minute call, so we can't get into all of this right now. I have it complete, and we never like to sell on this thing, but if you guys do want to learn how to use chat, I do have a complete course that I just finished writing on chat, and I'll put a link in that. But yes, this is what Scott's talking about is the custom instructions. And it's good to use this, and you can save these over again as far as different personas. But I like having the GPTs because then I can go back and forth. So I can have one for VA, one for FHA, one for first time home buyers, one for, it's like kind of just setting that up. And I see a question.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions here.
Yeah. So Karen,
did we answer your question that it's
Yeah.
the paid version?
Yeah. So, and if we did, that's good.
I'll address Stacy's real quick.
Okay, good.
Stacy, every time you start a new chat, oh, okay. Well, quick, Karen, it's under Explore. If you got paid,
Yeah.
under 4, you'll see Explore in the upper right-hand corner, left-hand
Yep.
corner.
So right here under Explore is where you're going to go. So you're going to go here, go to your ChatGPT 4, and you click on Explore right here. And then you can go and you can create. So you can click on create that.
Where the plus button is, right there top.
Yep. So
All
that's
right, so Stacy, ChatGPT remembers everything in a single conversation. So every time you start a new chat, it doesn't remember anything that you ever said to it. That's the same with free and paid. So if you start a chat like you see on the sidebar of Ginger's, like the real estate marketing GPT, anything she puts in that chat thread, it remembers. It can get confused if you put too much different information in there. So you want to try to confine it to a train of thought or a specific task. But when you start a new GPT, just like what you're looking at right here, you start a new conversation. It does not remember anything you did previously. And that's with both free and paid.
Yep. But the advantage of the GPT is it does remember what you put in here as far as your information. So just like
prompting.
Yeah. So for example, let's go. So this one, the VA marketing, it tells me I have 5 chats. And so that's how many I've used with it. And so when I go in there, it's not going to give me those chats. I have a feeling it will, someday down the road save it, but right now it doesn't. But what it does do is it does have all the information that I keep in here in the configure. So that's why you set this up in here to include your NMLS information, your website, all of those kind of things. And so here I also have personalized interactions by addressing the audience directly using phrases like dear veteran or fellow service member to connect more personally. So you can put whatever you want in there. And then let's just say, okay, we're going to, oh, the other thing before I leave, I'm going to share this with you because this is huge. You can actually, under knowledge, you can upload files.
Yeah.
So if you have underwriting guidelines within your company where there's overlays or things like that, you can upload those. I uploaded the VA lender's handbook in here.
Yeah.
So when it's going to pull information, it's going to pull information from that knowledge base. And I did that. And that's why if you look at, if you want to do a GPT for FHA, then you can put that information in there. If you want to do one, say if you have reverse mortgage, or if you have a special program for self-employed borrowers, you can put that in there. It's going to pull from that knowledge base. I think that's huge because it saves you the time of having to put that in there. It also makes it to where those prompts are writing in your voice. And that's a whole nother thing, which I'm not going to get into here, but you can get into doing that and having it really create information for you that is in your voice and your brand, and it doesn't sound generic. So those are the things, I think probably the biggest takeaways is to be able to know that with ChatGPT, you can customize and you can personalize and you can make it easier for you to be able to get the content that's written how you would write it. So it sounds like you. So let's use this for an example. And I'm going to say write a newsletter piece on VA eligibility. So this is just a very generic one prompt. Now it's going in and searching my knowledge. So that VA lender's handbook that I uploaded in there, that's its knowledge base. So it's pulling information from there. So instead of just getting standard information that may or may not be correct, it's pulling. Now you need to make sure you're using the most current one. Those are the kind of things you need to watch for. So maybe keeping it on a spreadsheet as far as where you have information. But I like this is because it provides you with a sense of knowledge that it's not just random information, that it's actually writing this from good information. And I think that's important because there's definitely a lot of times, and I know, Scott, you've seen this a lot, where it's not giving good information, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to address that. So they call that hallucinations, and hallucination comes as a result of a lack of context. So when you're providing it with the context and where to get the information from, you will not have the same sort of hallucination. So you're giving it you're giving it more information, more context from which to pull your answer from.
Yeah.
But yeah, because if you didn't attach the manual, you could still type that question and it would give you an answer, but there's a much higher likelihood of it being wrong or goofy or not what you asked it.
Yeah. And so this is taking probably a little longer than what you're used to because what it's doing, it's going in and it's reading through that entire handbook. And so I'm asking it to write a newsletter piece that is going to provide.
Which is huge. That's a big handbook. So it's looking at a lot of information.
Yeah. So within what, maybe 3 minutes, it says, I'm currently compiling all the information. It's based on this pamphlet. Once I've required, I've got it, I'm going to, get going. And so that's what it did. So not happy with that. Oh, we've got a network error.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's been doing that lately.
Yeah, it has.
And this is pretty normal. It's not always going to be right, and it's not always going to do what you want it to do. There you go.
Now it's got it.
So there you go. See, so she just refreshed it, and then it's going to give you a really good, just scanning this. It's accurate. There you go.
Other thing it's doing, and again, this goes into why setting up those GPTs is so important because all I put in here was this one prompt, write a newsletter piece on VA loan eligibility. But it pulled in my website, which I don't know if this is somebody's website or not, it pulled in and it can put in your name, Phelan specialist,
You
NMLS
had that in
information.
your setup. So you
I
put
had it in my setup.
you
Yep.
had it in the prompt.
And so the nice thing, and then it also, and I think this is important too, this is based on, and it tells you where it's getting that information from. And so when you're posting out, and this is a newsletter, you could use this in a blog post, having that, what it's based on, I think is very, very important. And so I would include that in a newsletter. If you're going to use this for a newsletter, I would include that in a blog post so that anyone that's reading it knows it's based on this information. And you know that too. The other thing is it has everything in here as far as the bold. So this has written it to where you honestly could just take this and put it into a newsletter and you would be good to go. But the reason why is because I set that up ahead of time. And that's part of what you can do in your GPTs in order to set that up. So that part of it is very important. Okay,
And
how are we
just
doing on questions?
I've been
people start
answering. I've
for
been
people starting out, a great way to do it, if you just want to add one extra thing, is say, write a newsletter that is 300 words or whatever
Right.
number
Yeah,
you want.
you
So
can do
then
that.
you can
Yeah.
deal with the length.
Yep.
It's a great way to do it.
Yep. Exactly. You can do that.
Yeah, Stacy asked a good question that I think I'll answer live. How does it write in your voice? If you provide it copy in your voice, the most common thing is going to be a video transcript. So if you do a video and you transcribe the video and you put that transcript in GPT, it's going to mimic your speech style, the words that you use. That'll sound like you. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. You can do it with voice memos. You can do it with transcript. You can speak to it. If you wrote something, you can add that to it.
Yeah. So to give you an example, and we can get into this down the road, there are several steps to it. I do have a couple videos out on it, and it is in the ChatGPT mastery course that I've done. But it is, you can upload and create. I created a style guide. So this is for my business, my Edge Marketing GPT. And what I did, it's just what Scott said is I took and I uploaded videos and my articles, courses that I've taught, and it created a style guide. And so what we can do, in fact, if you want, we can even go through that next week. So maybe that's our conversation next week is how to do that, because then it will write in your voice and it'll have your style. And so that's important. So that'll be the next step. We can work on that and show you how to create your own style guide so it can write in that. Okay, so one of the things real quick, and I want you, and we're going to hop off here, but I do want you to go in and whether you use it on your own GPT or you just do a prompt, what I want you to do is go in and write a prompt on create a marketing plan. And you can do it for the next year, you can do it for the next month, you can do it for the next week. Mine is in my business. So I've set the GPT up to be in my business and what I want and my goals. And so I would put a pretty in-depth plan together. So I'll just give you an example. This is a prompt that I have, and this is a pretty in-depth prompt, but I have it set up to where it's going to give me everything that I want for my marketing content for the week. And so, start playing around with this. Whatever you're going to do, if you want to, just do something, if you want to do something as broad as give me a marketing plan for the next year and see what it comes up with. Now, that's a pretty broad one. And so see, it's got here. So it has my voice, it has my style, I have material. And so it knows who my target audience is. It knows kind of what my content strategy is. And so just going back to what I started with, when you think of your AI, and specifically we're talking about ChatGPT here, as if you're hiring someone on your team and the conversations you're going to have and the training that you're going to do, the better you do up front, then the better you're going to get as far as the results back. So I think that's the thing you want to think of. So here it's giving me, an example. We're missing a few months in there. But it's including everything that I want. So I already have my websites in here, the things I'm doing in there, and it's got all of that in there. And it's giving me some really good ideas. Scott, I loved your term that you used for AI as far as being that, assistant in being creative. What were the terms you used?
Either augmented imagination or amplifying ideas.
Amplifying ideas. Yeah. And that's what it does. I mean, all
Yeah.
those kind of things. So you guys, here's the thing. We changed the group to the AI Clubhouse. What we need from you is, what do you want to know?
Yep.
And I know that's a broad question and there's a lot to cover with it. So
That's a prompt.
that's a prompt.
There you
There you
go.
go. That's a prompt for you to go put into the comments. Let us know, what we're putting out there. Scott's been doing a lot. Steve, you're getting starting and doing a lot as far as what you're talking about, bringing that in as far as, developing you and your brand and what that looks like. But let us know what you want. As you're going through, if you're looking for resources, a couple of resources I've created, aibeehive.com. So I just created this, and it is just a bunch of different businesses, technology, different things that are using AI that could be helpful for you and your business. So that's the one thing. And then the AI Mastery Center. I have the ChatGPT course. We have several others. I know, Scott, you're working on some courses to put in here. We have Chelsea's putting some courses in here. Our goal is just to start having a variety of courses available to help you through this. But I think the main thing is just dive in and start using it, and let's all learn through it together.
And Lee, the answer to your question is yes.
Oh, I missed that one. What was
It's
Lee?
okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Lee, you can definitely do that. There's so much you can do with it. So we're just getting started. Okay, guys. Well, Happy New Year. We're jumping in with both feet.
That's right.
So we will see you same time next week. You can watch us on Facebook. You can join us on our Zoom link and share us with your friends. We have opened the group outside of just loan officers. So if you have your real estate partners that you want to share us with, financial planners you want to share us with, all of those kind of things, feel free to share us. We are a community and we're building this together. And if you have something that you want to share that's been working with you for AI, please let us know that too, because we want to involve everyone in the group. Okay, perfect. You guys have an awesome week. Boys,
Happy
great
New Year.
to see you. Thanks
Happy
for
New
my
Year,
cohorts,
everybody.
and we'll see you again next week.
Happy New Year.
Okay, bye.